So how do we deal with that?
Tax information.
Yeah.
There's no problem with that.
Yeah, I promised to shut up, but I lied. You know, there's a push to make healthcare a right.
Yeah.
And the Democrats are pushing this. Okay, healthcare is not a right. Healthcare is an individual responsibility.
Right,
Each of
that's
us
right.
are responsible for making sure our healthcare is taken care of and that of our families is taken care of. Now, if you don't believe that and you think it's a right, then if the Second Amendment means I have the right to guns and our healthcare is paid by somebody else, my guns should be bought by somebody else.
Teresa, you never did address how the rules got changed.
Oh gosh. Well, that's
Short and brief.
Yeah. You know, Derek Skis, God bless him, he was phenomenal Rules Committee chairman, and that illustrated the riff right at the beginning, was because this Solutions Caucus wanted to circumvent our rules and make them weaker. And why in the world would Republicans want to be
Weaker.
making the Republican rules weaker?
Good question.
Yeah, so that's, you know, they compromised at 58 instead of 60 for the blast motion, with the agreement that they would try to make peace and try to get along. We would try to get along, and we did. We did try to get along, and we did okay right up until Medicaid expansion, and then it all blew up. Well, that's not true. The members of the Solution Caucus were consistently jabbing at leadership and making very snarky and aggressive comments on the floor whenever they got the opportunity. The riff was right out there for everybody to see this session.
There was a long letter about a week ago in the local paper from a guy who was a Republican member of the Senate, I think, maybe even a Senate leader, and it addressed exactly that. He divided the Republicans up into three categories, and then the one he recommended was the solution category, where we get together and we find a solution. And he rejected those of us stinkers who actually have a principle. Exactly.
In the end, there was 38 of us that stood together. We named ourselves the 38 Special, and I'll take credit for that. I came up with that clever little quip. And those are my brothers and my sisters. And
But there was another
we feel like
letter
we've been to war.
just a few days ago, an answer to him, and it said, well, by golly, some conservatives may actually ask the question, should I sacrifice my principles? And then there was a quote by Khrushchev that said, the Americans will never jump from capitalism to communism, but we can use our politicians to feed the Americans little by little socialism until they wake up one day under communism.
That's right, exactly right. That is so true.
And the very last question was compromise.
Compromise. I'm not going to compromise my
How come
principles.
compromise always means that they
Yeah, we always move to the left. How come they never move to the right?
This is a general question
Sure.
that also includes what you've been talking about. But because I'm kind of a hound dog for what happens here in this county, as I'm like, look out for things that might hit us in the future. In all the different bills, did you notice anything that might affect us in, specifically, especially in the pocketbook, that you can remember that jumps out? I even know Jason had a bill.
Yeah, his was vetoed too. His
As an
fiber bill was
example.
vetoed.
Is there something that, as a Valley County,
One of the best ones was
residents-
the Good Neighbor Authority that allows the state to manage timber sales on federal lands. I think that was probably the best, one of the best successes that we had. That's huge for us. And I do believe that one got signed.
Yes, the governor's signed it.
Okay, a Good Neighbor Authority. So that should help with our forest management and smoke, hopefully.
as things come up and that would affect us here, would you
Yeah.
Make people aware so that we can be aware, so we can do the
Yeah,
right thing.
I dream of having enough time to write a little essay on each one of the important bills, but
But this is your
it's
constituency.
a dream. I do.
This is
I
your
do.
constituency, right?
What about the issue of people from out of state receiving Medicaid?
Oh yeah, there's 3,000 of them, one
Why
guy
can't
in
they send
France.
that? Is there
Yeah,
a-
well, that's DPHHS's. Again, I'll show you the bill. It's a muckmire of caca, in my opinion. And it's DPHHS's responsibility to do all the regulatory oversight on this whole entire program. And,
How does it even happen here? How does-
well, maybe they had if they lived here at one point and had a ID, a Montana ID, and then they moved away, well, they're collecting those checks. Ron?
On Medicaid expansion, as you said, we had a lot of out-of-state people using it. Is there any way to show how many of those people had abortions on it?
That's a very good question. And there's been some scuttlebutt that some people are claiming that sex change operations and abortions are not included in the Medicaid expansion program. So I actually solicited the services of Jeff Laszloffy and the Montana Family Foundation, and they are creating a white paper on that subject as we speak. They were hoping to have it to me today to verify that we do in fact have abortion, taxpayer-funded Medicaid abortions and sex changes. He's very 100% certain that we do. He's got his constitutional attorney, Anita Milanovic, working on it. So that should be forthcoming. And I'll get that out to you guys by email when I get it. And from there, then we might, but I'm telling you, we can't find the costs on anything.
Do we have any chance of getting a Republican?
We gotta. We absolutely have to. We absolutely have to.
Survive if we don't.
Yes,
Is
yeah.
there any way we can adopt Alabama?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Katie had her arm up.
Okay. Medicaid does pay for abortions, and that's because of the federal government under the Hyde Amendment. It gets renewed annually in our legislature, the federal government, NVP, they renew it every year. And under the Hyde Amendment, abortions have to be paid for under Medicaid for individuals that are, it's threatening the health of the mother, for incest or for rape. And that was actually put into play in the 90s by a Republican to try and control what was going on with the abortion bill. If people don't know, Roe versus Wade really is not an abortion bill. It is a bill that discusses privacy rights. That's what the ACLU uses every single time when they're getting ready to go after Alabama. Because every single state that has attempted to try and put major controls onto these abortion bills, the ACLU comes in and uses Roe versus Wade against them because in each state constitution, it discusses privacy rights. And since Montana has the strictest privacy rights of all the states in the country, even the Montana legislature is having difficulty being able to fight that privacy right that was listed under Roe versus Wade.
And there's also a Supreme Court case, a state Supreme Court case that plays a role in that as well.
It's genetic.
Ron?
This got up the apple cart a little bit. Oh boy.
Yeah, we need,
Of the 20 Republicans that voted Democrat, how often? 60%, 85% of the time, 40% of the time? Is there a way to get an idea on that?
There is. We have some people that compiles the voting, and they use different criteria for it. I was appalled to find out that I voted yes 66% of the time until I until I realized that I voted yes on all of our good Second Amendment bills. I voted yes on all of our good abortion bills, anti-abortion bills. I voted yes on anything that cut government spending. So that doesn't really give you a real good matrix from which to work. I looked at the members of the Solution Caucus where I was voting 66% of the time yes. They were voting 86 to 90% yes. Legistats, the people that put together the Legistats program, which is basically just your adherence to the Republican, basically it's kind of a herd mentality. If you're a Republican and it's a Republican bill, and 50% of you vote together, then you're scored accordingly. I believe Glenda has asked those folks to come over and speak to you and expose some of that and explain it to you so that you'll have a in-depth understanding of it. But yeah, it was, I've been an A-rated voter all along. The Solutions Caucus, they pride themselves on being Fs, and they actually wore Fs on their lapel. And it was, in my view, just kind of a way of mocking the Republican platform.
This has to do with 2020, because in your view, and you know that there's 3 or 4 very good possible candidates to be a Republican governor. And can you point out some things that we need to be looking at as to a couple of things they're going to collide about? I'll give you an example. You brought it up before, the Water Act, and then also maybe the compact and immunization.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Good question. I have endorsed Dr. O at this point in time. Greg Gianforte called me the other day, and he is expecting to get in the race. Prior to endorsing Dr. O, we had the conversation of what happens if Greg gets in the race. Because they're both very, very, very good men. I do think Greg has a much better chance of being our governor based on his name recognition and.
About Central Committee.
What?
How about the Central Committee?
What about the?
Who would they endorse?
Oh.
They can't endorse.
They can't endorse.
Don't
endorse before the primaries.
They can't,
Before the primary, they cannot?
they cannot.
No.
So Dr. O will agree to be Greg's lieutenant governor running mate, and I think that would be a phenomenal winning ticket if he's asked. If he's asked, and just talked to Greg the other day, and he said that he was going to sit down with Dr. O and talk about that again, and he said Dr. O was on the short list, and it's a very short list. So that's what I can tell you about that.
Okay, we really need to wrap this up, guys. So unfortunately,
Thank you.
it was really great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Information.
Okay, let's do the 50-50, $31.